and I am the host for today's session. So, I wish each and everyone who is present here will attend the session with the with with that energy we everyone have in the morning, right? It's it's the morning session, and so I request everyone to attend the session carefully, enthusiastically, and actively. So today we are presenting the webinar on roadmap to build career in UI UX designing by our presenter, by our guest, Mr. Nithesh Gothe. So, just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions, any queries regarding this webinar or regarding the topic, just post them in the chat box. We will bring them up during the webinar or at the end of the webinar, and we have a separate time for the question answer sessions. Okay, so now, without further ado, we will turn time over to the presenter, Mr. Nithesh Gothe. So here, so he did his graduation from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, and then he did his post graduation in Diploma in Design from ISDS School of Design and Innovation, Mumbai. And now he is working in Dassault System as a UI UX designer. So uh, he's a UI UX designer in Dassault System, and he is with us for this webinar. So I would like to turn time over to the our speaker Nithesh Gothe. Nitesh, please, you can start.
Yeah, thank you, Aishwarya. Good morning, everyone. How are you all? You can unmute
Fine,
and
Bhaiya.
speak.
I'm fine, sir.
Yeah, all right. Okay. So, are all of the students like attendees from Batu, or is anybody from outside Batu? Anybody from outside Batu can speak up.
Hi, I'm from San Diego.
Hey, hi. Great. And others? Anybody more from other college or different country? All right. Okay. So welcome all. Today I will try to give you a surface level understanding of what UI UX design is, how to get started, what UI UX design contains, and why it came into picture. Also, roadmaps towards it, like if you are a fresher, if you already have experience in different field or so. And if you think that's something I have not covered, so maybe you could directly drop the question as Aishwarya said, or at the end we also have a Q&A session. So in that you can bring that topic up. All right. Gaurav, are we recording the session?
Yes, we are recording the session.
All right, good. Um, okay, I will just get started. Let me know once you can see my screen. Somebody can confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes.
All right. Um, so I'm Nitesh. I'm a user experience designer. Recently started working. Before that, was working with few other companies part time, um, and I have completed, as Aishwarya mentioned, like I have completed my mechanical engineering. I was a lot into design during my engineering, like the CAD modeling, analysis, making machineries, and making products. Then slowly I diverted towards UI UX design, but now I work as a user experience designer in Dassault system. So here I work on the CAD modeling products like SolidWorks or CATIA. So I help um, in like enhancing the user experience of these products. So in today's session, we'll try to understand the why, what, and how of UI UX design. So before we get started, how many of you already know about UI UX design, or is it new for you? Yep. In my session, feel free to unmute yourself and speak in between if I ask any question or any opinion. Anybody
It's
know
new
about?
for me.
Okay, okay. Others?
Sir, UI means user interface and UX means user experience.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Others, have you heard of it, or are you just exploring what are the career paths available in front? I'm going to ask a lot of such interactive questions in between, so maybe you can keep your thumb on unmuting yourself always. Okay, so let's get started with the why, why the user experience or the UX field exist first of all. Okay, so let's start from let's say Stone Age, like when wheel was invented. All right, so that wheel was invented just to make transport easier for them, right? So people saw a problem that time, and then they somehow connected dots and thought, oh, a circular disc could help us move things around easily. And then they made the wheel, and that helped them move forward, right? So before that, they would have to lift everything and shift here and there, and but the wheel enhanced that experience, right? It made the job a lot easier, right? So that's a ground level example of what user experience is, what a solution could do to the user, do to the people, or help people in such great way. And slowly we came till until 21st century, and then we have millions of products around us, not only digital but also physical products, right? So user we if you track your daily activities ever, you will notice that um, there are thousands of products, physically and digitally, you interact throughout your day, from waking up holding your toothbrush to let's say having breakfast or cooking, uh, to going to bed at night, right? Your bed, your blanket, the shape of your bed, right? Like the material used. Uh, so everything has a particular gives you a particular experience throughout the day. Some things made you makes you happy, something makes you sad. So basically, what are the feeling you get throughout the day? It is because of things around you, sometimes people around you. Yeah, is somebody speaking? All right.
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, what was the scope in future in UI UX?
If you're good at things, there is always scope in whatever you do. So we are in web 3.0 already, internet 3.0, metaverse is already there. So uh, there are no traditional jobs now. So if you're good at something, if you're good at UI UX design, there is of course a future. If you're good at technical engineering, there is scope in that. So I guess 10 20 years ago there was fear of, is there a scope? But now it's all about your skills and talent and consistency. So yeah, there is a scope. So as I said, see, in Stone Age they made a wheel, their work improved, right? Efficiency improved. That slowly wheel was used everywhere, slowly automobile came up, right? So that thing happened in physical products. But let's say when first like digital device came up, like there was pager uh, a while back, right? That pager used to just give you notifications and messages if some like just like a timer or a alert. So that was a digital device which had audio buzzer, like if you set an something like let's say a hospital emergency, and then you used to get a buzzer saying, oh, it's time to go to hospital, or oh, it's time for the operation. So that's how slowly digital products or electronics came into picture. And then slowly when mobiles came, like let's directly jump to touch devices. When touch devices came into picture, like again the um, what can I say, scope of work or possibilities, the area of possibilities increased. Like you have app, you have digital screen, in that you can do anything now, right? You can code anything. So if you remember the black and white phone, those which in which we played snake game, it was the basic thing where it started, right? Pixels used to move here and there, but now we have color screens, right? We can do a lot of things, we can create a lot of apps, websites, and so it has not just restricted to apps and websites, games, right? Movies. So lot of things can happen there. uh, so first when the mobile was created, it was just created to meet the basic needs, right? We want to communicate from with one person to other. But now it has got lot of like the performance and power has increased to a certain extent. Like we want like enhancement features, like um, so there is something called as must have. So that was like we should be able to talk to someone. But now there are features like good to have a 64 megapixel camera. Do we really need it? No. We are not professional photographer, but still everybody has a 48, 32 or 64 megapixel camera, right? And now there are things like there are projectors into mobile. Like do we need it? No, but it's good to have. It's like desired feature. Like and then adding such features is like user experience. Like people buy iPhones, people buy OnePlus or even Samsung, which is of 90 or even 1 lakh rupees. So it's not just about getting the problem, like solving a problem. It's about going one step ahead, right? So there is a scope to fill that up. Yeah. And now metaverse is coming up, so I don't know where the hardware will go, but digital like digital will improve and hardware will follow it. So the possibilities are let's say even now I can't think of that might be possible in next 5 years. Okay, um so user experience in a short term, it just came from peop- increasing demands of people, that okay, you can just solve the problem, but what more can you do, right? How can you make our lives better? How can you make us happy? So it came from there. Um, so yeah, as I said before, only why we need to make the products better. Like giving an example of a wheel, it was just a rock disc before, but now we kept on innovating, and then we came to tubeless tire till now, right? There are now tires which do expand and um, like shrink based on what speed you are, right? Not only that, let's talk about digital as we are into going into UI UX. So um, there are websites which need to also be seen in mobile, right? We like almost 4 out of 3 people have like search on mobile first. They don't go on computer. So whatever website or app or a web app which will work on a computer, that same thing should be visible in the mobile in more convenient way, right? So that responsiveness is how we make the product feel better. Also, we know that although 5G is there around, but still some places there is still 3G and 2G. So we don't want to create websites heavy, like, but at the same time, it should not be outdated, right? We want like new animations there, like it should be aesthetically appealing and all those things. So as the market competition is increasing, we need to improve like uh, exponentially as we go. And yeah, as like why human race needs better UX, because somehow if you remember, in, let's say, a, a couple has a new born baby and they want to teach him something, right? So whatever learnings those couple has from their parents, whatever experience, life experiences they have, so they combine all those and then try to give him the better learnings, right? Do this or don't do this, maybe you can try this or don't try this, right? um, Similar, so that is how like parent help their children to learn from their failures or their experiences and move forward, right? So in a way, parent may like controls how, yeah, the parent controls how use his child will think and how his thought process would be. In similar way, now we are surrounded by products, right? And majorly digital products have increased a lot in last 5 7 years, like from wristwatch to headphones to, of course, there was mobile. Now even people do carry tablets for reading books. Nobody carry books, they just carry a tablet that also does the task, and laptops. So we people are surrounded by those things, and we need to have better user experience, as people learn from things they see around them, right? So if you have a very bad let's say, uh, I would not quote someone, but let's say if you visit any website and then it's a very important website, like a lot of money is involved, let's say some stock market website, like the trading website, a lot of high um, a lot of fast things are happening there, right? And if the user interface is not good, right? Yeah, if you have to think a lot before taking some action, then you might lose money, right? And then at the end, the user might get frustrated. In a similar way, if there are educational apps, right? There is Byju's, there is Udemy, there is this Coursera, all these websites. So all these websites are kind of governing how our next generation is going to be. So the world needs good designers to know what is good and what is bad, and then putting those things only, right? We have like lot of technologies out there, like Elon Musk has like access to the strongest AI, right? He can build killer robots, or uh, but he knows what is better for the human race, and he uses his power in creating better EVs, or even if you have seen his SpaceX, so how aesthetically appealing and even functional products is making, his space suits and the interface inside the space shuttle. So before there were hundreds, and I guess there were 350 buttons in a spacecraft. Um, and now in the SpaceX spacecraft, there are, everything is touchpad, right? So things can be improved, right? Things can be made simpler. Why user, like a user need to remember what button is where? He could just have a screen and then play around it. So that's why it is important to have better UX in everything, not only digital product but physical products also. Let's say your just 2 days back, like I was playing with my small brother, so I locked a uh, bottle, and I thought he won't open it. But it was too easy to understand for him that how to open it, so he just did it in 2 seconds. So that is called as good design or a good user experience. Even a 3-year-old child knows how to open that bottle. I thought he won't be able to do it, but he did it. So it's a good thing, like a 3-year-old is already trained to open a bottle, so his level of understanding is much higher than which was mine when I was 3 years old. So that's why it's needed. And as I said, it's not only related to digital products, although it's heavily used in digital products, um, like apps and mobile apps, games, websites. Um, there are web apps, there are softwares which I'm currently work on. So we do improve how the function works or how a particular kind of feature works. So that everything is digital products, right? But there are physical products. There is IoT, right? Just to give you an example, um, and if somebody want to take it ahead as a startup idea, they could. So if you remember, there was a company called Blockbuster long back ago before Netflix came, right? So Netflix, so Blockbuster was the one who used to rent out CDs, the movie CDs. And when internet came, and around that time in around 1987, I'm not sure about the year, but around that time Netflix also started coming up. Not 97 but around 2000. So I'm not sure about the year, but when Netflix came, and Blockbuster saw Netflix as a competition, but they were not uh, focused enough that internet could be a next thing for them, so they did not went online, right? And then Netflix took over the streaming industry, right? So now Blockbuster is gone, right? Nobody buys rented CDs. Even when I was 7 or 8 years old, me and my brother we used to buy Harry Potter and um, like all those Hollywood movie CDs. But yeah, now we don't do. Now we have Amazon Prime and other things. Similarly, now we are into metaverse. There is augmented reality. There is virtual reality. Not strong enough now, but it would be in next 5-10 years. So if Netflix wants to survive, let's say not just these 5-10 years, but next 50 years, they have to upgrade to. They need to work on hardware. They need to create AR, VR glasses for themselves. They need to create platforms where people can content. That now Instagram and YouTube, there are reels, right? So there might be a future where there is a 3D content, right? People are, mm, I guess, have you seen those Now You See Me movies? I don't know, like, but there they showed that they can create a hologram and like share that as a content. So if Netflix wants to survive or be in market for next 50 years, they have to work on hardware and create some 3D, what can I say, holographic creation platforms or um, so those things. So just to move forward. So that will help again the users to consume data, consume content, and creators for creating content in much better way, right? They don't need to stick to digital products, right? If you remember, like when we were small, like, our parents used to say don't sit near TV, right? But now, like, due to AR or VR, the glasses are just like 2 inches away from our eye. So it's not good for in the long term, right? So there has to be holograms and all those things. So these web streaming companies need to work on that. So this is how like UX need to improve, new innovations need to happen, right? We need to understand the needs, what market, like 10 years, 15 years, what people will want, what kind of technology would be there. So those things. All right, any questions here before we move forward?
Sir, how augmented reality, virtual reality related with UX, UI?
Yeah. So augmented reality is three. Let's say I give an example that Nokia, we had that snake game, right? You could keep your mic unmute. Uh, let's have an interactive thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you remember that we had those snake games, and then slowly now the colors came into picture, and now we have kind of 3D looking games, although in 2D screen, but they are 3D
Yes,
looking
sir.
snake game, right? So that's how it started. Like the UI was not that aesthetically appealing back then when it was black and like green and black it was. So that time it was not that good looking, but still we were used to it. Then color came up, then we thought, oh, this is cool. Now 3D came, oh, this is
Yeah.
again more cool. So similarly, augmented reality, although it has reached a greater extent, now we can see realistic things there. Even in Dassault, like we had just last week, 3D Experience World event. where it was virtual and then everything was online. Like it was like virtual reality, and people used to could go roam anywhere and then attend any session they want. So everything was online. So it has reached to that extent. But again, uh, if you have seen that badminton game came up on Xbox, where you had a stick and then you used to play with it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have never played it. I've just seen it, but yeah. Um, the interaction between hand movement and screen was not that high, like accurate that time. But now slowly it is improving, right? How user would like to use it. And then last time, it was just tennis that back then, tennis or baseball. So it was just moving your racket around. But let's say you're playing Counter Strike in augmented reality, right?
Yes, sir.
So you would have gun, you would have to reload it again and again. You would have to, if you're using a shotgun, you need to uh, fire 2 rounds and then again like take out those empty uh, bullets and then uh, repeat the task, right? If you want to change the gun, you need to keep it back in pocket. So there is going to be a lot of hardware coming up, right?
Yes.
Right. So we use as a designer, he needs to understand what kind of actions would a user do, what kind of um, things like possibilities are there while playing this game. He could roll, he could run, right? So and then based on that, he needs to create a hardware for the user so that he don't feel like he needs to learn something. He would just do things like, I don't know if you've seen the movie of Steve Jobs. Like people should not uh, think and do something. They should just do it. Like
Yes,
even
sir.
before using it, they should know how to use it. So that is how we create better experience, rather like not giving people the cognitive load. So that is how like so this was the UX part of augmented reality or virtual reality. The UI part is like going more realistic, right? If you
Yes, sir.
remember when we used to see Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, so it was like a 2D drawings. People used to draw like frame by frame. There were
Yes, sir.
designers, cartoon designers. They used to draw everything frame by frame, and then it used to get compiled, and the movie used to be made. But now then we got came into digital arts, right? And now augmented reality and virtual reality needs 3D models, right? So
Yes, sir.
it started with a cartoon, and then uh, how we are going slowly close. If you have seen Toy Story, back then it was like the animations were good, the picture, the what can I say, um, I'm out of word here. The finishing of those products, they used to look almost realistic back then. But now if you see anime or those cartoons, so they are more realistic compared to Toy Story. So slowly augmented reality and virtual reality would go into more realistic thing. So that is the UI part of it, how it's looking, how it's
Yes.
aesthetically appealing, right? So
Yes.
that is, so there is also scope. And even not there, like there are IoT devices, right? There is Alexa um, everywhere now. There is um, one more product is there, right? There is Google Home, I guess. And such household consumer electronics are coming up. So if you remember when there was when Google came up with that voice search, so it was like we need to say hello Google, right? But now with the other hardwares like headphones or um, double tap, so even the touch screen, the finger touch, you can control those. Like you don't need to say hey Google and then search something, right? Even like I have a Boat wireless earpod, so I just hold it for 3 to 4 seconds and then my Google search comes up, right? So that is how we improve the user experience. What are the possibility, like easiest way for the user to open that Google search? Voice, right? Only voice is not
Yes,
needed.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. All right, any other questions before we move forward? Yes, no.
No, no questions.
All right. Okay, so let's move to next thing. So now it's so this was all about the why previously whatever I said. So why it is there in the market, right? So sorry, I missed one more point. Maybe we could. All right. I will. So all right, I will cover that point afterwards. So now what it is, ठीक है, what are the ingredients of this UI UX? So first of all, what is the difference between UI and UX? Can anybody point it out? Like I guess somebody did it back then. I didn't got his name, but yeah. Can anybody tell what is the difference between UI and UX? Anyone? You can take a guess. Alright, and yeah, when you are in design field, there is nothing right or wrong, right? Everything is subjective, so you can speak up.
Yeah, hi.
Hi,
Girish here. So
hi, Girish.
in UI, we can design the user interface, means
Mm,
screen of the user handling, and the UX is the research behind that. So
mm,
what is going on that, and
nice.
how to process that.
Nice, nice. Any other answer? Girish, right?
Yeah, Girish. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone else? How many people do we have? We have 98. You could speak up somebody. It's okay. Like, uh, if you're planning to come into design, it's important to have some opinion before even you know something, because if you know, even if you take a guess, then you could test it out. You could ask people, right? So maybe take a wild guess what UI is, what UX is in general. Don't need to complicate things.
UI is user interface, na?
Yeah, and UX
UX is
is my internet not working
user
or
experience.
yeah, okay, yeah, right. All right. So this is a little bit of artistic field, right? So when you think about something, or when you try to create solution for something in this field, you need to go more deeper. I'm not pointing out all the answers were right, but I'm just saying, like, giving you an idea that how to think from now on. Maybe you need to go more deeper into things, more like simplify it, like bring it to base level. Okay, and all the answers were right. UI is user interface and UX is user experience. So yeah. Uh, so yeah, apart from whatever you said, this is what in general, like just in a layman terms, like user interface is something like what it looks like. Okay, and user experience is what it feels like. Okay, if you are seeing this, maybe none of us is hungry after seeing this, but let's say if I had a pizza over here, maybe some of us might feel a little carving towards it, like आज शाम को चलो खाते हैं." Let's go out today evening and eat it. So like that's the feeling, that feeling whatever user gets. So now I explain only the good feelings. Let's say if I put up, let's say it's a lunchtime and I put up a garbage photo over there, so it's disgusting for everyone, right? So it's a sad feeling, right? And then UI is something, just the user interface, how it looks like. So you can see there is a boat here, um, there's a photo here, there's title, there is a there's a cross icon over here, there's minimize, right? there is the title written here, right? Then there is something called as, oh, I can record it from here, right? So this, whatever you're seeing, what it looks like, and I guess it's looking like decent, not that appealing, but yeah, it's decent. It's doing its job of communicating information, the what is difference between, and then so it's kind of communicating data, right? So this is what it looks like, and what it feels like it. Um, let's say um, if this the what was somewhere here, this question was somewhere bottom here, and then these were somewhere like randomly placed anywhere, you would have not been able to make any sense of the information, right? You would be confused. So that is how it would have made you feel, like confused, right? But here it's uh, like straightforward, like the what is the question, and then what is the difference between it, and then this is what it does, and this is what it does, right? So this is the ground level difference. Like if you want to make people feel something, then you need to work on UX, right? And then if you are getting complaints from your client or user or yourself that it's not looking good, you need to work on the UI of it. Okay. um, and there is one common thing around the globe that whoever is the user or the client of that project, so they don't know what they exactly want. They just know, is it feeling good or is it feeling bad? That's only the input majority of time we get, and then it's our job as a UI UX designer to go to the core of it and then find what's the root cause that it's not feeling good. You need to articulate those things, and then once you know that, oh, this is why it's not feeling good, then you can find out, oh, is a UX problem or a UI problem? And if it is a UI problem because of which it's not giving a good UX, then you improve the UI. Then and if you go doing surveys and talking to users, and then you realize, oh, UI is great, but functionality is not right. If the user is clicking somewhere here, he was expecting directly to record the session, but here, see, you can see there is a record icon, but as a user, I thought that, okay, I will go here and directly press here and it will start recording, but here it is saying that you have to press window G. Window plus G, so it's a one more task for me, right? So little, not frustrating, but if I was in hurry, then I would have been little frustrated, or yeah, why this does not work directly from here after clicking here. So that's how you find the core. I will come to that, how problem solving and how everything works. All right, any more comments or thoughts anybody has here, or any question here? All right, I will take that silence as a no question, or I hope it's still interesting, it's not boring. If yeah, again, if it get boring sometime in between, you can tell me that it's getting little too um, technical or too heavy. Maybe we can change topic and I will try to explain that same point in some better way. All right, so now we'll detail out that user as like interface thing. So what all falls under user experience? So first of all the visual elements, right? So this outline circumference of circle, you can see, then there is an image, right? There is text, it is called typography. There are colors everywhere, right? Here you can see it's a picture, so it's a lot of colors, but then there is a black and white theme here, right? There is a different logo of mine here, um, that has various shapes, right? So all these are visual elements, right, which come together and communicate something, right? There is also field out there called as communication design, right? So they are experts in how can we communicate a particular information in most effective way. If you look at Apple, or let's take, yeah, Apple, so look at their advertisements. They don't have a lot of uh, unnecessary content into them. They just have a minimalistic photo of a product. Yesterday on one of the billboards, I just saw a cat from far away. Then I thought there is no logo anywhere, no name written, whose ad it would be and what would it mean. When I went closer, then I saw at one corner there was Apple logo, and yeah, then all of it started making sense. That yeah, it's about minimalism and uh, their upcoming products and then their collaboration with India. So that's how they and that's what they stand for, like minimalistic product and like a high standard and high quality product. So of course that billboard was standing for Apple. So yeah, these are all the visual elements. So to summarize, it's like things coming into graphic design, like there is something called as theory of elements, right? How you use colors, how you use images, now videos, right? Now QR codes are also coming up, right? So can you create your customized QR code which would look beautiful, at the same time it would do its job of scanning and showing the user augmented reality in their mobile app or their VR glasses. So those things. Then um, there is something called as, let's say, I will quickly show you here something. Where are we are here. No, sorry, yeah, we are here. So let's say, uh, if this was little down here, right? So you can see now it looks like two different sections. So now you would think, oh, like the topic has ended here and now there's a new topic here, right? You're a user and let's say I've created this. So you would say, oh, I guess there is something missing here. You would start wondering that, is there anything different or something would come up here? You would be in that thought always. Is this a different bucket of something, right? So those things. So all those falls under visual elements, right? So don't worry, like you might be thinking like, I'm just giving you what all falls here and I'm not telling you how are we going to do this. But yeah, that's the next step which we'll do. Again, as we all mentioned before, that the look and feel is what user experience is. Like again, while designing this, like deciding what kind of look and feel you want to give, you need to understand people. You need to understand user. Yeah, is somebody speaking? No. Okay. Yeah, so look and feel, you while deciding on this factor. So I'm um, so just to give you an understanding that I am not using any high tech words or any proper industry terminologies here. These are simple terms which I'm using just to explain you what all falls into UI UX, right? So when I will give you resources to go into, you would come up, you will, whenever you will read those terminologies, you will understand, oh, it's talking about look and feel. There is something called as mood board. So if I told you now that it's you need to create a mood board and then you will get the idea of what look and feel is. So it would be too heavy as it was too heavy for me when I was learning it. Um, so yeah, um, so look and feel. To get the idea of a look and feel of a particular product or what, so whenever you're creating something, you need to understand who the user is, who is going to read it, right? Now I know that you are all young, just like some are still teenagers, some are in their early 20s. So I know that you are some minimalistic product. So I kind of created a PPT in that way that it would not be too heavy for you, but it would be also communicating information. And again, here my goal was not to show you off my like design skills. So I just wanted to convey the information. So that's why this is the template I came up with, right? So that's how like I understood like what kind of audience I can get, and then uh, I did visited like whenever in that post which TechEdu shared. So there were like who are attending. So I kind of visited many people's webs profile and then saw, oh, they are still studying, or some of them are working. So and then based on that, I kind of created this color palette. So those things, like you need to understand people, who the user is, and what kind of problem they are going like they are there to solve. If you're creating a poster, so why would someone see it, and then how would it help? If you're creating an app, who is the user? Is the mother, let's say you're creating a app for tracking medicine for like elderlies, right? So who is the direct user of it? Do the old age people would use it, or would their son help them use it? So if their son is going to help them use it, you can create a more young app, right? More aesthetically appealing, or more minimalistic app, so that it would be easy for that his son to use it and get a quick note reminder on that app saying, okay, it's the time for this medicine, and then he would give it to his grandfather or um, his father. So those things. So um, you need to categorize, like there is no right and wrong answer. All the problems are unique, and every time it would be a new user, and every time it would be a new different thing, that new different feeling you want to give, right? um, and again, like make it more usable. So see, I guess everybody might have used Microsoft, right? Microsoft Office, Word or Excel, right? Even till now, like it's been almost 8 or 9 years, I guess. Yeah, almost 9 years. I'm using Microsoft Excel and Word and PowerPoint, um, and still I have not explored all the features in there, right? But it has a lot of features. There are a lot of tabs, and all the tabs have various features, and all the features does different thing. But still, I can get my job done knowing only few features. So like that is the usability factor of it, right? It's more easy to use. Like I can just use 2 3 features and get a good ppt ready, right? Get a good Word document ready. I don't need to go into formats and style it, add transition. I can so I can do that, but yeah, still the basic level thing can be done, right? Making it more useful is like the bottle example which I gave, right? The bottle cap which is to be twisted and tight. So I thought it would be hard for him to open it, but still it was too easy. Like yeah, so like creating those product, again knowing what kind of product you have to like creating, and then how easily accessible it should be. You might know now there is like for Amazon Prime there is a kids account, I guess, something. So a parent could activate that, and then his kid would only see the content which is meant for him, right? So having that flexibility for parents is like more useful. They don't want their user or a child to look at any thing he is not supposed to see at that particular age, right? So like understanding users needs, and then similarly, I guess Netflix doesn't do this, but YouTube does. YouTube has got YouTube Kids, right? And then my that 3-year-old brother, he he looks at YouTube Kids all the time. He knows how to swipe on screens, right? Yesterday I showed him my touch laptop, and then he I just scrolled once with my finger, and then he just took it from there. Like he knew, okay, he need to scroll, and then he need to tap to open the image, or he need to go back from where. So it was too easy. He's just 3 year old and he can use YouTube easily. So that's like making things more usable, right? And then there are other things which also fall under UI. There is now this was just the static things which I spoke about, right? Now there are other things like interactions, animations, right? Animations help to engage, right? If your let's say the normal download sign or the buffering um, icon, right? So it stops you there. Like if something is buffering, you don't go away and close the app and then open some different app, right? You wait there. Like it would happen right now. Let's wait 3 more seconds. Let's wait 5 more seconds. So you don't go away. Like that is that interactions, that those animations. It keeps you engaged there, right? Even if you go into Chrome, if you don't have internet, um, that dinosaur comes up, right? So the idea is to press the space bar or enter key, right? So a user won't know, right, to click space bar, but in the attempt of making that dinosaur go like run as far as they can, sometimes then the internet would come back and then that space bar would activate the reload of that page, and then the action would go forward. So that kind of interactions are there. So user interface, user interactions, or those things also fall under this, like animations. Now you might have seen those very satisfying animations. So that is how we engage the audience. Now as there are thousands of product around us, we need to hold a user on a particular thing, right? So how you do that? You do with these things. Either you do it with static images or static like text typography, colors, or you go into animations, right? And then more advanced, like you use AR VR somewhere, right? You give a barcode saying, or if you have glasses, you could just um, wear them, connect it, and then explore the app in a different way. That is how you engage them, right? uh, so those also other things which fall under it. Before we move on to UX, do you have any questions into, like, are you clear that what for all falls under user interface? And are we clear? Or if you have any doubts? Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, bhai, it's clear.
All right, all right. Please do feel free to ask
Uh,
questions. Yeah, yeah.
sir, sorry for the late joining, sir. Can you please tell once again what's the difference between UI and UX?
Yeah. What do you think the difference is between UI and UX? I'm
As
just.
I know, UI is user interface,
And
and UX is user experience. Correct?
yeah, correct. So yeah, so that's the basic understanding. Okay.
How
Uh-huh.
user interface? It means how you smoothly give the that availability to the customer or client
Mm-hmm.
to those application who use most
Yeah,
smoothly.
yeah, yeah. Uh, okay, and all right, I got you. Like, you have a bit basic understanding of what UI and UX is, but again, like, there is something called as what can I say? There is something called as KISS, right? Keep it stupidly simple, right? So this is how it is. Like the UI is what it looks like, okay, and then UX is what it feels like. It's that basic, like looks and feels, right? You might have seen some person who looks too good, right? But when you talk with that person, you start to get bad vibes that, oh, this is not not the person that you thought based on his look, right? Some, it's just saying that don't judge the book by its cover, right? So judging the book by its cover is like looking at its cover, or the UI or the front page of it, and then saying, oh, this could be good book. But the UX is after reading that book, what experience it gives, right? Right. So that's the basic thing. And again, there is there are two types of feeling the UX user can get, right? After looking at a book or an app, or even the icon or logo of a company, he would get his basic understanding, could this be a nice one, or could this be a good book, good like, do you think this could have a good product like the boat, right? I was avoiding to buy boat products to a particular extent because I thought it might not be good. But then when I bought my first product, I got a different experience, right? From that, like from 6 7 years, six, no, not 6 7 years, from last 5 years, I have only used boat products, right? So that is how, like, UI is my first glance towards it, and then whatever experience I get based on that, it's not looking good, it's not, so that's one thing. And then UX is me after going through using it, right? Sometimes it like just by looking at it, but sometimes it's after using it. So again, to summarize, like, design is subjective. Nothing is right or wrong here. Everything has a different solution, different answer. But yeah, it need to make sense for that particular problem, right? If it is a poster, it needs to look good, as well as it needs to give the best experience at the first glance. There is no like going through it or going through the let's say there is an event and then going through it and then reading it, and then taking the takeaway that, oh, it was a good but poster was bad, but the program was good. So it should not happen that way. The poster needs to be good because that's its job. But if there is an app, right, let's say if there is a government side, let's go for the online net banking. So let's say SBI, right? It needs to show that this is trustworthy. Now they have those, you need to put your password, you need to put OTP, and then you need to put some other data also to log in. So it's frustrating, but uh, it's okay. Like, I know it's safe. If you're asking this many question, I know it's safe, although it's taking more time for me to log in just to look at my balance. uh, but it's needed there. But then in other cases, like, let's say if you're opening Instagram gram, and every time you open Instagram, it's asking you for the password. So it's not good experience, right? Even though my private life is there, I still wanted to open on my fingertip, right? So that is how it's subjective. Like, it depend upon what kind of problem you're solving or what kind of sector we are in. All right, clear. I didn't got your name, who just joined recently. All right, let's move forward. Hmm, okay. Any more questions in your user interface?
Sir, is there any programming language required to for UI UX?
No, not required. Like, knowing programming language is good to have skill, but yeah, I will come to that. What kind of skill set you need in the next 2 3 slides? Yeah. Any other? Okay, let's move forward. It's how much? It's 11:58. All right, and then the user experience, right? The feeling and emotion while interacting. So as I guess I have explained a lot of things about user experience till now. So it's like what the user feels while using it, right? If I am at McDonald's, I am eating that burger. So what that burger like gives, like, what kind of feeling it's giving while eating, right? If I'm if that bread is not fresh, then it's would give me a bad feeling. So that's how what the experience is. Let's say if I'm using WhatsApp and then it started recently started giving you that update saying you need to update it, otherwise it would get blocked. So it's not a good experience. So uh, those things, sometimes we don't have memory, or sometimes those things, let's say other example would be, let's say you're used to opening Facebook on laptop, but then you don't have Facebook application on your mobile. You directly went into Chrome and then open Facebook, right? You logged in your account, but now you're not able to easily track where the groups are, where the pages are, um, how to log in here, right? um, so you're not able to navigate easily, so that would give you a bad feeling, right? um, just hold on a minute. Okay. Huh. So yeah, those kind of feel and emotions that the user gets, right? So I talked a lot about the emotions and feelings till now, but uh, there is other thing also, like, is the job getting done, right? If a user had a particular goal that he's going to go on Wikipedia and get this information, if that thing is not happening fast, like he's searching for something, he's getting that page and then he's looking for it, if that is not happening fast, then there is some fault in the entire user experience. There is something called as journey map, like how the user would go. Let's say he want to search, he wants to open a new Gmail account. So what would his process be, right? He would go on Google, he would type Gmail account, and then he would look for new account, and then he would fill up that form. If something takes a lot of time while filling that form, then that's the low point of that user journey. We need to work on that form filling, right? So those things. So basically, uh, it's all about like user centric. Like you need to put user in the center, who is going to use it, what all problems he's facing, and then how we will solve it. That is all about UX, to talk in simple terms. All right. um, and then how you would do this, like we can't directly come up with ideas, right? There is always processes and methods while creating something, or like innovating, or even solving a problem, right? So there are a lot of processes. So in the next few slides I would give you um, what are those. So still this is a big question, like what is importance, right? Is the UI important or a UX is important? So just to give you my understanding of it, user interface is just what the user sees. So it is secondary for me. User experience is the most important thing, because if the user goals are not getting meet after he goes through our app or website, or after using our UI, right? So the entire thing fails, right? So if the UX is great, right, if user knows that okay, he wants this, or he's not sure what he wants, till he comes and then he understands, oh, he wants this, and then he gets it done. Although the UI is not looking good, but the job is done, right? Still it's the win-win there, right? And if the UI is also great, it's too easy for the user to use, and everything is like user is happy at the end, and it takes like less time, then he is more happy, right? So that is still more greater thing. So for me, like user experience is something that is important, and then there is the UI that follows it, right? If you know what kind of thing you want to make, what kind of experience you want to give, then you need to work on the UI of it, right? You know, okay, this is the kind of thing I feel I want to give to the user, I want to make him happy at the end. So this kind of interface I'm going to make. So yeah, those things. All right, I will move forward. So now it's about how, right? So how you will learn all this, how to start, how to search, what kind of skill sets you need to have. Somebody asked about the coding, so it's not needed, but it's good to have. And then there's portfolio you need to create of your own to apply to jobs, or to present yourself to the world, that what all you know. All right, I'm speeding up a bit. All right, so there are two ways. You could go to a college and self, or you could self learn it, right? So both are good ways. Just college would have faculties who would guide you everywhere, and while self-learning it, you need to look for mentors, look for people who know more than you, who are experienced. You need to talk to them. So all those things you need to do. So I would suggest a better way would be going to some college and self-learning the things, like doing those both the things at the same time. Like faculties are teaching something, you're learning something in college, and coming home you're looking for, oh, what other things are related to this, because of course college is like fixed curriculum, it might not cover everything, so you need to explore other things also. That would be a better option according to me, but still there are a lot of self-taught UI UX designer. um, I went to college, like I did my master's in product design and innovation, and then at side I did a lot of internships with uh, startups, and then improved my UI UX skills there. I learned a lot of design processes from my college. So all those things. So kind of mine is a mixed journey, and I think it's better compared to only college or only self-taught. All right. So how do you start? You need to read it. You Reading is important here, like reading, listening, going through YouTube, scanning everything, reading blogs, articles, reading case studies. So all of that is very important. Talking to people, talking to faculties, talking to mentors, that is important. uh, and then analyzing, like not speeding up, right? If you talk to someone, stop there, analyze what he said, why he said that, what was his thought process, right? If somebody has some, like I said, just mentioned before, that according to me UX is better, right? So I try to justify my point why I think UX is more important, right? So that was my thought, but what's your thought on what I said, right? You need to always go back and reflect on what you read, what article you read, if you saw some YouTube video, so what it means. So you need to analyze this, right? Anything you do, this is the most important, otherwise you can't move forward, right? You can't make something, you can't have your own thought process, you will always depend on someone else, right? So once you read, once you talk to people, once you analyze, now try it out, right? Right, try to make something, try to make an app just to start with. uh, Not even app, just try to solve some problem. Go into a kitchen, talk to your mother what kind of problem she is facing, um, and then just try to give the solution to it. Like let's say she is making some oily food, and then while preparing it, the oil spills on her hand. So how would you solve it, right? There could be better way, like there you could have a gloves, you could have a spoon which has a protective layer. So something like, start with there, like start to think, start to solve problem, and again come back, read more focused thing now, like how to, like, just use Google properly, like how can I improve a particular app. Just look for an article, it would give their opinion. Then share that opinion with someone, share it with your friends, or what do you think? If you have a UX community, talk to them, then get their thoughts. Now use it, analyze, repeat, right? That is how you learn. Now again, sometimes the college would come here, like reading and talking would be with faculties or with the books or with the projects they share, right? Okay, moving forward. Okay, so here are some things. Maybe if you want, you could take the screenshot of this. So to start with, there are a lot of Google courses, a lot of Coursera courses if you want to start with. I guess there are few on Udemy also. So you could start by taking those. There are two YouTube channels, one by Chris Do and one by Run Segal. Um, the one of Chris Do is called The Future. You can see my Chrome, right? I hope you can see my Chrome.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
So you could follow this guy. great person. I do follow him from last 2 3 years, I guess. uh, he explains things from all standpoints, like from design, from emotion, from business standpoint, right? Creativity, like art, don't have much business, right? But we are designers, we need to create art and sell it, right? So he also teaches few things from business point of view, and then he also has few videos on UI UX, or like how the what is the UI UX process. So you could follow him. There is a channel called by Run Segal. No, his name is Run Segal, his channel is called Flux Academy. So you could look for that. So these are two people which I follow. And again, you need to have few people which you follow, right? So I follow them, although I currently stopped following, like tracking them from last 2 months. But like now I follow some different people, but still I go back to them. If I get new opinion, I go back to them and then look what they said in a particular lecture, and then compare, and then create my own understanding. So that thought process, like thinking too much, overthinking something, and then coming to a conclusion, that's important, right? Not only overthinking, but coming to a conclusion, that you need to do. You can find few other people also, but whatever suits you, whatever things is good for you, find those. Just because I'm saying their name doesn't mean you need to follow them. um, then there are blogs, articles, and a lot of sites you should follow. um, there is something like NNG, Nelson Norman Group. So I would just show you. So here there is a lot of research papers, articles, trainings. So a lot of events are happening here, right? So see, there are a lot of topics. All of these things you need to slowly understand, right? Like there are a lot of design processes here, how to design a service. So see, somebody asked me like how it is useful in, how UX is useful in the augmented reality, right? But UX is also useful in a warehouse, right? Amazon is such a big, what can I say, B2C company which provides, it's a biggest courier service in short, right? So they have a warehouse, they have lakhs of, maybe hundreds of lakhs of product in a warehouse, right? So how easily it is tracked. So there is something called a service design, right? That how a particular QR code of a product would be scanned, how would it be brought from a particular section of warehouse to the outlet, to the pickup point, and then how it would go, how that thing would be more effectively managed, right? So how, and the employees don't, and how you, there your user would be employees, like the workers there. So you need to create such kind of workflow for them, so that nobody is frustrated at the end of the day, everybody is happy employee. So how would you do that? So that's the problem statement, right? And then creating solution, creating the user experience there, right? This would happen, then this would happen, then we need a scanning device everywhere, so that it's easy for the employee, and then done. So that could be a solution. So this is one site maybe you could follow. There are a lot of certifications um, you could take. All right. um, then there is Medium, I guess many of you have heard of it. So there are various articles on Medium. Yeah, right. So you could just search for, let's say, UX case study. And yeah, after maybe who are interested here could look up at a lot of case studies uh, into UI UX. So see, maybe, yeah, so you could look at this case study, like Start VR. He made a website, right? Then what challenges he faced, right? So you could open it. I will just open and show it. And then look like how we solved a problem. Oh no, we are on different page. Not this. There are other website also, but this is a main website I told you, like Medium and this. Let's say, so see, redesigning of lifting, right? So it's a case study, like what's the problem, right? what's the problem, what's the redesigning goals, right? Then they went into design principles. So this is all about UI. I mentioned before, like colors, typography, theory of elements, those things, right? And then you could go through this case study. What are the UX challenges? See, now there was challenge into UX, so they listed them out. There was problem into usability, reliability, differentiation. Like it was just like other players in the market, so they need to stand out. So those things. Then they redesigned it. Like before it was this, and now after this is this, and then they have explained it. Like see, they analyze their success also. So you need to read. That's why it's important to read a lot here. Read or listen, whatever suits you. Right. Um, so this was just about from where you can get started with. Once you have a clear understanding of how to what can I say, how people solve the problems, how UX case studies are done, how app is redesigned, or even an app is built from scratch, how these all things are done. um, you can go into the design processes which I mentioned before, because while innovating something or solving any problem, there is a set kind of process you need to follow. It's not a thumb rule. It's good to know that um, if I came across such problem, then how would I solve it? So there are these two sites. If you want, I could drop in the link in the chat. Now this is one design method link. Then there is this. This is Korean. You would need to translate it while using it. So maybe you could bookmark these two links. Um, there are a lot of what can I say, methods here. I would just show you once. Like let's say you, if you want to create ID, let's say you want to test your design, right? So you do test, and then with whom you want to test? You want to test with the user, and what you want to do? You want to analyze the results, right? And then based on what, like um, let's say market, right? So we, and then you go search, right? So see, we have this method, right? You could go here, open it, look how the process is done, understand this process, and maybe apply it to your problem. So it's that simple here. And then here it is also in this other website. It's like if you're doing research, so there are all these methods. Like if you're analyzing, like you're coming to final ideas, what kind of features I need to put in this app or websites. So here are those, right? There are like, cause if you're testing something, you're testing with the users. So realization means like you made something and now you're getting others feedback on it, or you're giving a different thought process to it, or looking at it in different perspective. Those things. If you want to take the screenshot, although I will be sharing this PPT, so you could look up here. And yeah, so skill set. So these are the softwares and tools you need to know just to work more effectively. As I said, you need to know UX processes for which you'll follow those sites, talk to people, learn. If you go to college, that's best. Like you get to learn a lot of processes there. Um, these are softwares which you should know. Like there is Figma, there is Adobe XD, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, right? And then there is Miro. Adobe XD and Figma, these are used for creating interfaces, right? In which you create those digital products. Um, then AI is for creating icons or vector graphics. So it's sometimes when you create a website, you need a particular illustration there. So you make it in here if you are interested. Otherwise, we have people like graphic designers doing it. But it's good to know. Then there is Photoshop. Let's say if you're using this image, but let's say it's in brown and it's not matching my color tone, you use Photoshop and then change it color tone to maybe something gray or black, and that's all. And then there is Miro. Miro is maybe you should look into what Miro is, but to in UX, what is the basic knowledge you want? Y- Just a minute. uh, you could look up Miro would help you to track your projects better, like manage your projects better. Like um, it helps in, I would leave it to you. It would just to tell you what it does, it would help you to uh, manage your project better, like have you all the findings at one place and then analyzing and then creating features there. Like you could collaborate. If you have a team of 10 people, all the 10 people could come on that same link and then work there digitally. So Miro is for that. As I said, case studies you need to know. There is something called as atomic design systems. So if you're creating apps or websites, that thing need to be scalable, right? It need to be created repeatedly, right? Let's say you are a designer, you created something, and then you left the job, and now there is other designer who is working on it. So whatever method you used may not be the same method he used. So there need to be a standard thing, right? So there is something called as atomic design system. So I would suggest you to again take the screenshot of this and then learn about atomic design systems. It's again a little bit into UX, but a lot into UI, like how you create UIs, right? And then again, at the end, it's important to empathize with the problem, empathize with your user, right? Understanding, right? Understanding is the like surface level. Yeah, somebody asked here, what is the basic knowledge you want? Like you need to able to understand users and identify their problems and then attempt towards solving it. That is only the basic thing you need. Like speaking like from a intellectual point of view, but um, skill set wise, any new beginner could come up, like even he's from computer or mechanical or any branch, even commerce or arts, but they need to have this understanding, they need to have problem solving skills, right? This is the game is of problem solving, finding it, solving it, finding it, solving it. If you solve it, improving it. If it is already solved, improving it, improving it. That's the game. So you have to be thoda hushar compared to other people. And then other, so these things can be learned, but problem solving skill, it needs practice. You need to find problems, talk to people. Whoever in your group is talking a lot about startups, go talk to them, right? Tell them what problems you have, let's try to solve it, right? Maybe look into YouTube, what kind of problems are out there, how can we solve it? Try to create some apps or some random things. Practice is like base, right? Okay. And the last thing, so whenever so I've mentioned these points before also. So if you're deciding to become a designer, so it's not just it's good like you like art, so you're going it, but kind of it's a big responsibility also, because everything is getting digital, and if things are not pre- designed in good way, it could affect on a larger scale, right? So we have we are kind of people who can think something and then make it possible, right? So we would fall under that category. So we need to think good things, and we need to make them possible. We have ability to change mindset, because now people are used to, now using app touch devices is so easy, because people did few things in past, like creating touch devices, um, and making good apps which was user friendly. That's why it's easy for now everyone to use them, right? So it's our responsibility that we can change mindset, and then we should change it in a better way, right? We help again push the human race forward, right? And then as I said, like now entire world is open to everyone, right? So it's important that good things go outside, right? You might have seen on Instagram or those reels, a lot of nonsense goes on, right? It doesn't help anyone, right? It's not improving anyone, like not all the things, but some things. So such kind of things should not reflect in the design world, right? So that care we need to take, that what kind of things we are putting out there. And then everything need to have a reason, right? You might have noticed there is a full stop here and then there is a full stop here, but there is no full stop here in this three. So there is a reason for it, right? We are the people who can make things possible. So it's a period, like that's it. Like we actually are those, and then everything needs a reason. So this is like thumbnail um, kind of line. Like everything need to has a reason that why you're doing this. If there is a logo here, what this logo means, it has a, so just to give an idea, this logo represent me in many ways, and I have created it, like expressing my personality, right? Why there is a circle around it, like why there is designer here, and then why this entire content is here, why it's stopping here, right? Why all of these are bold and why this is not bold. So all those things need to have reason, right? So yeah, so that's all about it. And yeah, almost done then.
Yeah, thank you, Bhaiya. It was a great session. We had this session as our first community session for the students of DBATU and outside universities. So
Oh,
it was
great.
too great to hear you and interact with you. So I request students if they are having any doubt, they can post in chat box and we are good to close the session. If you are having
Yes.
any doubt, then you can post in chat box. Before that, I would request each and everyone to please fill the feedback form which we have shared in chat box. I'm again sharing the link, so you can please fill. And the last announcement for the day is we are having another community session on 26th of February, which will be conducted by Mr. Hemant Sawant, who is Associate Consultant at Infosys. So see you there. And yeah, I think we are good to close.
All right, all right. If you don't have any questions, we could
Yeah.
close.
So thanks a lot, Bhaiya, for giving us your valuable time. And just thanks a lot again.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. All the participants, thank you for joining. We are expecting your response in feedback form and see you in next community session. Have a great day. Thanks a lot.
Chalo, bye bye everyone.
Bye
Have a
bye.
good day.
Thanks. I request all the members